This is Brian, and welcome back to this commentary playthrough of Zelda 2. What I think should be the last part here. I don't know if it'll be quick necessarily, or I don't think it'll take too long. Hopefully I can just get through this. I did use jump, and now we need to use thunder here. Otherwise you can't hit this guy. And now I'm gonna need to try to hit him in the head and try to avoid his fireballs. So that's why I use jump, because otherwise he can fly up a little high and it can be a little hard to try to hit him. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna have enough to make this. I can only get hit twice, probably. Okay, I think I can get hit twice, and I have to hit him twice yet. Take that! Yeah. I am low on resources, though. Not sure I'm going to be able to pull off the next fight without dying, but I think the good thing on that front is that once you defeat the so-called Thunderbird guy here, I don't think you have to beat him again if I gotta come back through. Don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure that's the way it goes. So there's the Triforce and the old guy, but we have to face Shadow Link. As far as I know, though, I think if you basically camp in the corner here and crouch and just hit him, that's the way to cheese this. Not saying he won't be able to hit me at all, like he just did, but it's a lot better than trying to go toe-to-toe with him in a regular type of fight. And there we go. Pretty sure that's it. Got all three Triforce pieces now. Which, yeah, in the first game, I think you only had the two because you got one through getting all the pieces in the dungeons, and then you got one for beating Ganon. You saved Hyrule. You are a real hero. I don't think this one has a second quest, though. Unlike the first one. Curtains fall, although not all the way. And I guess it's smoochy time. Or maybe just a hug if you want to be more innocent with it, I suppose. I don't know if it ever implies that, like, Link and Zelda have a relationship or not in any of the games. Or if he's just like her protector, kind of. Which I guess you could be both. So yeah, here we got the credits going. I'll probably just let them go, and then I'll give a short review afterwards, because I don't think we're not on a time crunch in this one, because I got done pretty quickly today. I kind of assumed it would be. Thanks a million. Let's start the replay. See, I don't think that means that there's like another game to do. for a quest. I think it's just going to let you replay it. Probably go into the menu at least and see what it says. I don't remember. 12. Is that the number of deaths I had? What's it do when we go in now? Well, okay, I guess you can go through it again. Maybe they make it harder? Let's just see kind of what kind of enemies we have out here and if the same stuff is at the secret places and all that. I'll have all my spells. Now, if they didn't actually make it different, though, I don't really see what the point would be to go through and play it again. Unless you just want to see what these first areas are like, having... Might die here trying to get over here. Yeah, no. Yeah, I even got down thrust still. Yeah, it's easy enough to make it through there, but what are they going to give me when I go to the return the trophy? I already got the spell. Yeah, I'm not going to go through this. I'm just kind of messing around a little bit to see. Then I'll give a short review here in just a minute. Which house was it? That one? Okay. You saved the trophy. Come see my uncle. Yeah, we would at least still need to find the heart containers and the magic containers, it seems like. I cannot help you anymore. Go now. Okay, so... I think we'll just get out of town and let the overworld music play. I think that's better than in-town music here. Just personally. Alright, well that's it. Another Zelda in the books. So yeah, I just had a few thoughts. A few positives and negatives I wrote down for notes here. So I'm just going to go over those quickly. Overall, I still think this is a pretty good game. It's not one of my favorite Zeldas necessarily, but I'd still rank it up pretty high on my list for just regular NES games. So I don't think that I'm like not a fan of it. I do like it. It's just there are a lot of Zelda games that I prefer more. So the first thing I put down is I do appreciate how it doesn't seem like companies do this as much these days, but I feel like in the past, especially like regular NES era, these game developers took a lot more chances and tried some new things once in a while, more often than they do now. Now it seems like they have such large teams creating a game, and there's so much money involved in it that they're just more likely to go with the safe route. That doesn't mean they don't make some good games now, but if you're trying to find something that's unique or different than you're used to, you're probably going to have to go for an indie game these days. The AAA companies aren't going to do it. Now, I shouldn't say never. I mean, there's always going to be an exception, but pretty sure that holds up anyway. Yeah, I mean, this wasn't the only one. Like, Zelda 1 and Zelda 2 are much different. Castlevania 1 and Castlevania 2 are a lot different. Castlevania 2 kind of went the same way this one did, I feel like, as far as making it different than the first, and then 3 went back to the way 1 was, kind of. What else? The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games, 1 and 2, are very different there. Although in that case, I would say 2 is certainly the better one, in my opinion. has its charms. It's just a lot tougher and a lot different. Even Final Fantasy for the first two for the NES, they did a lot of different things in 2 compared to 1. Yeah, I just feel like they were a lot more apt to experiment back in the day, and I appreciate that. Next thing, I liked the leveling system they put in. It's pretty simple, but kind of interesting in the fact that you are able to level up your attack, your magic, and your life just by gaining experience points, basically. Like a more typical RPG type of thing than what other... Well, I mean, otherwise, I know Zelda games generally aren't really RPGs, so this one kind of was. So I appreciate that because I love RPGs. Next thing is the magic system. It was simple, but very effective in the way you could do it. You just go into the menu quickly, and then once you got out, just push select to use the spell that you had queued up. And even for such an old game and such a simple one like this, it was a pretty good variety of spells. I mean, yeah, your general life spell is going to be the most common, and shield probably. Those are the two that you were going to get the most use out of, but yeah, I mean, you had to use fairy for a couple places, and you had to use jump for a couple places. Reflect, you only had to use it on that one boss, I think, but it was certainly helpful against some of those other guys, the Wizrobes. And Thunder, of course, well, you needed to use it on Thunderbird. I think other than that, you could use it to, like, clear out rooms of enemies also, but it was so expensive that I don't think it would really be worth using it more than that. But that's just me. Maybe if you knew there was a magic refill somewhere nearby, you could do it. The last positive thing that I had written down that I wanted to touch on is the dungeon levels and the way they were designed. It was simple enough where it's just side-scrolling 2D, but it was also effective in making them decent length, but not too short, not too long, just pretty good, I think. And it made a variety of, even though the rooms, a lot of them were kind of the same, there were just slight variations in each of them that made you have to kind of do different things to get to the keys, or different obstacles to avoid, or traps to try not to fall in. But overall, I think they did a pretty good balance on that, and I appreciated it and liked it. Now to get some of the things that I kind of had a few critiques on. One of my biggest gripes that I would probably have with this game is some of the trap tiles. Especially the ones that had hits in them, and where you had enemies shooting at you and flying around, and they could easily knock you into the pits. Most notably were those traps on the way to the Great Palace. Which, I guess it's fair enough to say that, well, it was a difficulty spike. Try to make you get good to get to the Great Palace. And I guess that's fair enough, but it just got kind of annoying at times. Not saying I really would have wanted anything changed about it, I'm just saying that's one of the things I didn't like as much. Next, we have some early difficulty spikes that I feel like, especially back in the day, especially if you were younger and you maybe weren't that good at video games, or weren't yet, probably would have turned you off. If you got to the point, like the first palace wasn't too bad, but then trying to get to the second palace without the hammer, so you didn't have that shortcut to go from the first village, and trying to do Death Mountain to get the hammer, that was really kind of a pretty big difficulty spike compared to what you had been facing before that. And more so than a lot of the areas to follow after that, at least up until you get to the final areas of the game. Because then, of course, there was a difficulty spike there, but towards the end of the game, I guess I would kind of expect that. More so than so early on like that. So, yeah, I don't know. It still worked out okay, but yeah, I could see that being a big turnoff for some people. It also gives you something to be proud of, though, for accomplishing and beating it, though, I suppose. So, yeah, take it as you will. The next thing? I think they could have used access to the ability to get more one-ups, maybe. Just because there were only a limited number on the world map, and I didn't end up picking any of them up because I was kind of trying to save them. Even though I guess I didn't realize the point of no return I was going on, so I ended up not using them at all. But I'm not saying they should have necessarily left more on the world map, but maybe made it an easier, like maybe certain enemies could have dropped them potentially, would have been nice. Or what they could have done, which would have pretty much taken out the need to use them at all. They could have just made it so that all dungeons were like the Great Palace, whereas all palaces, when you died in them, you could have just continued at the beginning of the palace. That would have eliminated the need for it. But otherwise, yeah, some of those palaces are kind of a pain to get back to every time. Not that it was hard, it was just, I don't know, it was just annoying and a waste of time to try to make your way back to it if you had to continue and then make your way back, so. Those are my criticisms. I'd still consider this a really good game. Probably, I don't know, somewhere around the 7 to 7.5 out of 10 if I had to rank it that way. Certainly one that I go back to once in a while and still enjoy playing. So I hope you enjoyed this playthrough, and next, I'm probably going to just go ahead and do Mario Land 1 for the Game Boy. That's kind of a shorter game, so I don't anticipate that series lasting too long. Kind of appreciate series that take a little more time, like at least 10 episodes, like this one took 11, so I like it when they're a little more like that. But anyway, some of the short games are also fun too. It's just as far as trying to get uploads and get everything prepared, it just works better for me if they're longer. But that's what we'll start out with tomorrow, so thanks for watching. And if you've enjoyed this playthrough and want to see more, please like, comment, and subscribe or follow. And we'll catch you next time.